What's up, everybody? We are back with another King of Tennessee podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and fellow king of this great state of Tennessee, Billy Derrick. Billy, it's starting to heat up. We're almost at the halfway point of college football. We have MLB baseball. Also, the playoffs are heating up. Hockey's back. So it's been a whirlwind of things this week and last week as well. How are you doing, my friend?
And I'm great, Chase. You're right. This is when a lot of sports interlock here, and I think it's one of the more underrated times to be a sports fan. I still think when the NHL and NBA playoffs are going on, I think that's probably the best time. But this is a close second, I think. Because you're heating up MLB playoffs, you got NFL, college football, you still got high school football, NHL, you know, preseason NBA. So it's a great time, man. And of course we got college football. It's flying by though. We're already to almost to the halfway point. So let's keep it rolling.
We have we've had a fun start to the season. Looking back on it a little bit, it's been fun so far. Our pick'em records are mine. Your Billy's back. Billy's all the way back. I'm Cleveland back in 2016 levels of dumpster fire. So it's tough, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. We had a fun week of college football this past week. Red River Shootout obviously was a wild game. Uh, Other than that, Notre Dame gets knocked off, which we can get into here in a little bit. But I'm going to start with, as always, with our helmet stickers. Billy, you told me early that you had a couple. I'm going to let you go ahead and just tell us, who you thought was deserving of a helmet sticker from this past weekend.
Man, I'm gonna go with a player. I usually, you know me, I usually like to go with the team, but give me Jaden Daniels. That kid continues his Heisman Trophy caliber season, 259 passing yards, 130 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns for the LSU Tigers as they pulled off a win over Missouri. Obviously, LSU's 2 losses make it tough for Daniels to probably get to New York. Um, but man, he has been phenomenal. I mean, they could have 3 losses, without him, maybe even 4. I mean, they've been a lot of close, crazy games, and they've got Auburn this week, and so he's got another chance to shine at home in front of the Bayou Bengal crowd. But man, he has. I've been so impressed. I mean, he willed them to victory. I thought against Missouri, and he's one of the best running quarterbacks I've seen in a while. But he's not just a running quarterback. I think he's improved a lot as a passer, as a pure pocket passer. But he can really run the football as well. And I think there's some NFL scouts that they're starting to perk up their ears and well, more so their eyes, with what they're seeing with Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to give my first helmet sticker to Mr. Jay Daniels for his performance. And then secondly, I'm gonna give and maybe this team doesn't really deserve this, but I thought this was a big win. And I know these are all SEC here, but we're in the South. Um, I'm gonna go with Alabama. I was really impressed with what Nick Saban was able to get out of his team. And again, I think you could probably put more blame on Jimbo Fisher and his coaching mistakes in that A&M loss to Bama, but I was impressed with Bama. I thought Milrow made just enough plays. Their defense was phenomenal. How about Jermaine Burton, man? I mean, he put up some big numbers, and Alabama looks like they are a team to be reckoned with right now. So I'm staying in the SEC. First helmet sticker to Jaden Daniels at LSU just keeps rolling, man. I think he deserves to be in New York at least right now. And then second one, give me Alabama. They had to bounce back from a lot of adversity, and they were down and out, man. They lost to Texas, and they had to beat Ole Miss, and all of a sudden they're at the top of that SEC West, right? So they're kind of overlooking everybody right now. So give me LSU's Jaden Daniels, and then Alabama as a team for my helmet stickers.
I am, well, I don't know if you would want to call it lucky enough to get to watch Alabama this coming weekend live with my own 2 eyes for the first time ever. I will be in Tuscaloosa for homecoming at Alabama for Arkansas Alabama, which is I'm looking forward to it just because it's somewhere I've never been and two teams I've never seen play live. So it's gonna be fun. I'd rather be in Knoxville, but we love the women that support us, and so we got to show them that we love them back. So we're gonna go to Alabama for the homecoming game. My two helmet stickers. I'm gonna start off with a player, and his name is Dylan Gabriel, quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners, in a
Mm.
wild Red River shootout. This game started out crazy with a pick right off the bat, Oklahoma scoring right after the pick. Gabriel goes 23 for 38, 285 yards, and one touchdown through the air. Now on the ground, 14 carries, 113 yards, and another touchdown on top of the one that he threw for. He leads them down the field as time expires after Texas. I think Texas kind of knew, or they absolutely felt that they had won that game. And just to see Gabriel snatch that victory out of everybody's hands who were dressed in burnt orange on Saturday was something fun to watch. I thought he played great. He made a lot of good decisions, a lot of good reads, didn't turn the ball over at all, which was nice. And that's definitely a big key in that game, especially a game that with that much scoring. I mean, 34 to 30. There's no margin for turnovers like you saw and I just thought he played good. I think that whole team has played great. They're undefeated still, and Texas was kind of like the only last remaining test that you see on that schedule and think, that's their loss. Now I don't know who on their schedule is going to beat them. I think they have a nice path to the playoffs as long as they can beat Texas, I'm sure, in the rematch. But I think we're looking at a Red River Shootout Part 2 coming in December. But my helmet sticker, excuse me, is going to be the Louisville Cardinals.
Mm.
Louisville knocking off Notre Dame, giving Notre Dame their second loss in 3 weeks. They also are undefeated now in the ACC. I think Jeff Brom's done great so far this year with that program. I think his brother, the offensive coordinator, it's Mike or Mark Brom. I think it's Mike Brom. But
I think it's like Brian.
oh,
Brian
it's
Braun,
Brian.
maybe.
Okay, man.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
The sinuses are really polluting my brain this night tonight. So I like what that program's doing. I think Louisville. I had Louisville in my predictions for the year. I had Louisville finishing second in the ACC and kind of third in the ACC behind Clemson and Florida State, and kind of pressuring for that spot in the ACC title game. And now they're looking like uh, they could book their ticket if they keep playing the way they're playing, and they're looking at Florida State possibly at the end of December. I know they don't have any divisions, so it's just the two best teams in the ACC. And Louisville right now is, they're inching toward there. I know we have North Carolina still left, and Florida State, obviously. But Louisville is trying to throw their hat in the ring, and they're making a big statement this past weekend at home, knocking off Notre Dame. So we'll see what they have in store for the rest of the season. But yeah, Dylan Gabriel for Oklahoma had a great game in the Red River shootout, and Louisville knocking off Notre Dame at home. Uh, those are my two helmet stickers. And it was a fun week. It was a good week. There wasn't anything too crazy going on, but it was just, I think every week so far this season has just been solid. Like there's not been a
Yeah.
boring week altogether. I think it's just been
Yeah.
solid so far this season.
Yeah. I think the one week, when a lot of people thought it was kind of a down week, it ended up being a really good week. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago. But you're right, Chase. I mean, every week, there's been several, really compelling finishes to a lot of these games. And you've seen some electric finishes, you've seen a lot of surprises. But we get another statement Saturday. I think movement Saturday. You get some teams that have chances to prove themselves, some teams to, might show they still need work to do. Still have work to do. So, um, we'll see. But it's going to be another interesting weekend, I think.
Speaking of the upcoming weekend and people that need to show improvement, it's time to get into our favorite segment on this show. And it's time, let me pull up our Pick'em record real quick. It's time to get into Pick'em. Now, Billy, like I said before earlier in the show, you're all the way back, and that your record is starting to show that. Billy was 7 of 7 this past week, and good old me, I went 3-11 to absolutely tank my record. I remember Billy a couple weeks ago. I was looking at this, going, "Man, I'm pretty decently ahead um, of 500," and now 500 is running away from me faster than anything. So Billy sits right now at 49, 49, 1. We both lost our lock of the week this past week again, which moves both of us to 2-5 in that category. But that dumpster fire, 42, 49, and 1. So I have a lot of work to do. And Billy, if he continues at this pace, he's going to just, there's a good chance, Billy, that you're over 500 in the next couple of weeks. So I have a lot of work to do. I have to have really good weeks coming up. So let's just dive right into it because it's a solid slate this weekend. Uh, we have some good matchups, good ranked matchups to look forward to. Let's start out with our conference in the South. Missouri going on the road to take on Kentucky. Kentucky at home right now is a 2.5 point favorite. Over under set at 50.5. Billy, I'll let you lead off for Missouri and Kentucky.
I love Missouri in this matchup. I think Kentucky is a team that is reeling right now. That they're coming off a very disappointing showing in Athens. I mean, they just got pummeled against Georgia. I mean, Kentucky they were never going to beat Georgia, but I mean, their defense absolutely imploded. And Carson Beck threw for 389 yards, season high, 4 touchdowns. That's not a great sign going up against Brady Cook and Luther Burden and the rest of that Tigers offense. Unless Ray Davis is planning on going off for almost 300 yards again, I got Missouri. I like Missouri to win this and cover. Missouri plus 2.5. And I know it's in Lexington, but it might be a sleepier crowd. Kind of disappointed about how their showing in Athens went. And I like Missouri. I think Missouri's got a better offense. They've got a good run defense. I think they'll hold Ray Davis in check. And Devin Leary has not impressed me. I mean, I haven't really seen anything out of Devin Leary that makes me want to pick Kentucky here. I mean, he's made a lot of huge mistakes with guys wide open, starting with the Vandy game. I mean, I was at that game. I couldn't believe some of the just bad missed throws he had. Their receivers have had a lot of drops. And now you got Mark Stoops out here saying, I don't have enough good players. My team isn't good enough. I mean, as a player, you don't want to hear your coach saying you're not good enough. I give me more NIL money. These guys I have aren't good enough. So I think Kentucky probably has a lot of locker room dysfunction right now. And I love Missouri in this matchup. So give me the Tigers plus 2.5 in Lexington.
I am gonna follow you on the 2.5. I like Missouri in this game. Even though it's on the road, I think Missouri has played decently all season. I know they looked great in the first half against LSU. Look at that score early on, and you're like, man, Missouri's gonna run away with this game. And I know Elijah Drinkwitz said after the Vanderbilt game that this team has, they struggle to close games out, and I think that got exposed this past weekend against LSU. But like we were saying, Kentucky, that pass offense is horrid. And if Ray Davis isn't going off like he did against Florida, then this team is going to struggle to score points. And we saw that, especially against Georgia. That game did not go how either of us thought it would, with a thrashing 51-13 loss. And Kentucky, they're struggling, like you said, Mark Stoops. I don't have enough good players. you know, you don't as a player, you're thinking, okay, whatever. I'm gonna check out. This season's not gonna mean anything because our coach obviously doesn't care anything about us. So, it is what it is from the Kentucky side of things. But I like Brady Cook and I like what Missouri is doing. I think if they can figure out how to close games, this team's going to be dangerous. But until then, you know, I think they're going to squeak past a couple wins here and there. But I still like them this week. Give me 2.5, and I'm going to take the over of 50.5. I like that. I think Missouri is going to score. They've put up points this season. And I don't know what their record off the top of my head is, over under wise. But if Kentucky can score maybe in the 14s, maybe in the 20s. I think you're going to be able to push that 50.5 by just barely getting over. But I think, what is it? Yeah, it's 50.5. I like that 50.5. I think you could get 51, 52 out of both these teams.
Yeah, I like the over too. Give me that over. Let Brady cook.
Let Brady cook always, and then Tigers are going in to Kroger Field to knock off Kentucky. Here's a fun game that I have been looking forward to for quite some time now. It's two of the best Pac-12 teams, and I'd like to argue with how USC's defense is. I think these are the two best teams in the Pac-12. Going head to head on Saturday, Oregon traveling to Washington. Oregon is a 3.5 or 3 point dog on the road. Over under set at 67. I'm gonna lead off here, Billy. I'm gonna shock you. I know I've had Washington at one point as my number one team, or not number one team. I've had them close to my number one team, and I've strongly considered putting them there because I think they've been dominant this season. Best quarterback, I think the best quarterback in college football right now in terms of Heisman standing. They have three NFL talent wide receivers, but I'm gonna go Oregon +3 here, and I think I'm gonna take Oregon to win outright. I like Bo Nix has been great this season and that offense has been humming. But also, what people are not talking about is that Dan Lanning defense. And I've heard in camps that he's starting to bring over his Georgia philosophy now that he's kind of settled in Eugene, and it's kind of shown. And I like what that defense is about, and I think that defense is going to do enough to shut down Penix and those wide receivers. So give me Oregon +3, and I'm going to take the under of 67. A lot of people think this game is going to be a shootout, uh, but I'm going to say 30-20, 35-21, something close to 67, but we're not getting there. So give me Oregon and give me the under.
I'm starting to believe that Oregon is the Pac-12's most complete team. Both star quarterbacks are really good. Bo Nix and Michael Penix. But Oregon, Chase, I don't know if you knew this, but they also lead the country at 7 yards per carry. Right? They're really running the football well with Bo Nix and those backs. Washington is they're averaging 5 yards per carry, so not as good of a running game. Also, you mentioned it. Oregon's defense made a statement. They dominated Colorado. I mean, they did not let Shadur Sanders do anything. So I was impressed with Oregon's defense. I think their defense does just enough in this one against Washington. I think Washington has better pass protection, so I don't think Oregon will be as dominant in that D line. I think this is going to be a track meet. I like the over. I think there's going to be a lot of points. These are the two best quarterbacks in the country, arguably. Um, I like Oregon though. I like Oregon on the road. Dan Lanning is a beast. I love that guy. I mean, he's a man amongst boys. I think he's done a great job bringing a Georgia type of that mentality to Eugene. So give me Oregon +3 and the over in that one showdown in the Pac-12.
This game is going to be so fun to watch. And it's going to be very telling on what the rest of the season has in store for the final season of the Pac-12 before these two teams relocate next year. And I'm excited about it because, like you said, two of the best quarterbacks in the country, Michael Penix and Bo Nix, going head to head, and it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a great watch. Make sure that you're at home. Make sure that your remote is in your hand, and you've got that channel flipped over to this game. But also, Billy, quick thing, while that remote is in your hand, you need to pull out your other hand and you need to go on your phone and open X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and you need to give us a follow at Kings of Tennessee Pod on Twitter. Find us there. We're going to keep you updated. That's where we post these episodes and our picks. So just a quick little plug. While you're watching that game, watch us too. Uh, let's transition a little bit after that plug. Miami and UNC. Miami, boy, Billy, I want to talk about this real quick for just a second. Quick little rant. Mario Cristobal, you should not get to hold a clipboard in your hand the rest of the season, hold a
What an
playbook in your
idiot.
hand. Dude, what were you thinking? Just
He
take
is
the
a
knee.
he deserves to be fired after that. I mean,
It's
that is an absolute fireable offense. And he had people around him trying to scream, "Take a knee, take a knee." But I give credit to Georgia Tech. They had to drive down and score. So, I know it was a big blunder by Miami, but give credit to Georgia Tech. But yeah, I mean, all you had to do is take a knee. Cristobal, I mean, he should not be employed. I'm sorry, that was awful.
It's a great win for Georgia Tech, who just got beat by Bowling Green the week before. So if you're Miami,
Yep.
you're ranked, and that's the biggest coaching blunder that I think I've ever seen with my own two eyes. But besides the point, Miami going on the road to North Carolina to Chapel Hill. North Carolina surprisingly is only a 3.5 point favorite, which I get that they're not going to be a crazy big favorite after that coaching blunder. But let's just up it just a tad. Uh, it's at 3.5 right now, and the over under set at 57. Billy, I'm gonna let you lead off here with Miami and North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to that infamous blunder from Mario Cristobal, nobody really cares that Miami is actually a better team in year two under Cristobal. I mean, they've been a lot better. They beat A&M, but they lost to Georgia Tech um, when they should have beaten the Yellow Jackets. I mean, they should have won that game. Tyler Van Dyke is really good. I mean, he's a gunslinger. He's a top 10 in passer rating in the country, even though he did throw 3 picks last week against Georgia Tech. But North Carolina has Drake May. They've got Omarion Hampton. Tez Walker is back, and Mac Brown has that program ticking. And they've got a very, very much improved defense as well under Gene Chizik. A much improved defense, better than a lot of people expected. So I love North Carolina in this game. What's the over under, Chase?
It is at 57 right now.
Okay. I don't know. That's a lot. I mean, I just don't know if like I think UNC is going to score. I don't know how much Miami is going to score. Um, so give me the under. Give me the under just barely in this one, and give me North Carolina minus 3.5. I think this could be a 7 to 10 point win for UNC comfortably. Um, give me the Tar Heels at home. I like Drake May a lot. I mean, who doesn't? Tez Walker's back, so give me the Tar Heels minus 3.5 and the under in that one.
I'm gonna follow you on 3.5. Because you look at North Carolina this past week. Syracuse is not an awful team. Syracuse, hung in there with Clemson a couple weeks ago, but North Carolina slaughtered them this past weekend. A 40-7, just flex your muscle, uh, you know, take the shirt off, give you a little muscle flex from Drake May and the boys, and they look good. I know we've had complaints recently in the last couple years about that defense. The defense hasn't really looked awful. They look improved from last year, and I think, you know, they've been playing solidly. We saw them in action game one against South Carolina. Now, South Carolina's offensive line couldn't block anybody on social media, let alone the guy in front of them. So, that kind of helps the defensive statistics. But I like North Carolina here, 3.5. Like you said, comfortable win. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna say 15 plus win for North Carolina. Call me crazy, call me stupid, but I think North Carolina is just on fire right now, and Miami with that, whatever you want to call that for a head coach, whatever. When he left Oregon, everyone's like, "Oh, he's the best coach in the country." Woo! Hey, you can't take a knee and you lose that game. So, buddy, you just crapped your pants, and you're never gonna let that down. Like as long the rest of the season, that will always be the thing that we lead with talking about Miami. But yeah, like North Carolina 3.5. Give me the over of 57. I think North Carolina is going to score a lot. I think Miami is going to give you just enough points to push that over just a little bit. I know we're talking about close overs. That's all we need. We just need a few pushes, few little touchdowns here and there, little field goals where we can get them. I think that's going to get us barely over that 57, but I think we do get over that. So yeah, North Carolina minus 3.5 over 57. Let's keep it fresh with some more ranked on ranked matchups. Billy, this is fun. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be great because in South Bend, USC, the Trojans, Caleb Williams going into enemy territory to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame right now at home, 3-point favorite. That's what you usually give for the home team. So technically in Vegas, this is a toss-up. You look at that 3-point line, that's what they always give to the home team. So we're looking at kind of a pick 'em right here. Over under right now set at 60. So Billy, where's your head right here for the big USC Notre Dame game?
Yeah, big game for both teams. If USC wants to stay in the playoff hunt, they've got to win this one. If Notre Dame wants to stay respectable, even, I mean, they might fall to the rankings if they lose this one. Um, so when I look at this, there's a couple things. On one hand, I know USC's defense is just going to blow up at one point and give up, 40, 50 points and just look awful. I mean, they've looked bad all season. But I'm also concerned Notre Dame might be worn down after 3 straight tough primetime games. Ohio State, tough loss. They probably got lucky against Duke to win that one, and then they lost last week against Louisville. All 3 primetime night games, 2 of them tough atmospheres. For the most part, I don't believe Sam Hartman and Notre Dame's receivers have enough to keep up with Caleb Williams and USC. Um, and I think this comes at a bad time for Notre Dame. Give me USC +3 and the over in this matchup. I know it's tough. I hate saying that. Notre Dame's got a brutal schedule. This is a brutal stretch. I don't think they have enough. I have not been impressed with that offense and that offensive coordinator. Jared, I think it's Jared Parker. I've not been impressed with them. So again, give me USC +3 and the over in this one. I think there'll be a lot of points. I just don't think Notre Dame can keep up. I mean, USC has been dominant offensively. They've been bad defensively, so I think Notre Dame will score. I just don't think they have enough to keep up. Give me the Trojans +3 and the over in this one up in South Bend.
Well, we have our first complete agreement across the board here this weekend because a second agreement across the board this weekend because I am also taking USC +3 in the over. I think Caleb Williams is too good. And I know they've struggled on defense, but Notre Dame has struggled altogether in the last couple of weeks. And like you said, they're worn down. 3 straight primetime games. That puts a lot on the mental and the body, just both of those things. I think this is going to be one of those games like whoever gets the ball last wins the game. And I think USC is going to be put into a good situation. I think Caleb Williams, this is his, we've seen a lot of Caleb Williams the last couple of years, even beyond that. He's been spectacular. This is the game right here to me that says, yep, yep, just go ahead, shut all the odds down. Whoever you think is going number one, I know a lot of people think it's Caleb Williams. Some people like Drake May over him, but this is the game right here where even if you love Drake May, you're going to ditch him and you're going to say, I'm on the Caleb Williams hype train as well. And I think it's going to be a USC win and a big win on the road for them, especially them hunting a Pac-12 title game. Now, I will say this: that team has struggled. The double overtime, triple overtime win this past weekend against Arizona, and a close game before that. So they might be on borrowed time, but it's not this weekend. USC uh, gets the cover and gets the over. Billy, it's time to talk about both of our teams this weekend. We both play. Uh, it's a big game, I think, for both ends, just because, I think if Vanderbilt comes out here, hosting Georgia this weekend, that's a 31.5 point dog and the over under 56. But I think if Vanderbilt can come out here and keep it relatively close for the rest of the game, I think that's going to be a good sign for them going forward. I'm going to go ahead and give you my pick. That way we can get Billy's preview. But give me, I've been saying this, and I think I've taken them, Billy, in every game that they've been on our pick 'em slate. And I'm going to keep doing it because I have confidence at some point that Vanderbilt will cover a spread this season. And I'm going to take Vanderbilt +31.5 at home against Georgia. And I know everyone's like, this is a trap game. It's whatever. It's whatever. They've got to cover a spread at some point. And they've had good chances in the past. And you're looking at Georgia going, man, this is the number one team in the country. But sometimes you get those number one teams sleeping early and you can just backdoor them at the end. And I think that's what we're going to see this weekend. Vanderbilt backdoor cover +31.5. And give me the under a 56. I think we're going to get a low score backdoor cover.
You said it. I didn't. you're rolling with the Vandy train. I'm not quite sure why. They have underwhelmed, Chase. Give me Georgia. Give me Georgia minus 31.5. And but give me the over. Give me the over. I think Vanderbilt will score a touchdown, maybe two, but I'm looking. What's the over under, Chase?
It is 56.
56. That is a lot of points. But give me the over. I could see something like, you know, 48-10, hell, 55-10, something like that. I think Georgia will score a ton. I think Vanderbilt might score a little bit. But yeah, give me Georgia minus 31.5 and the over. Vandy hasn't covered yet. I don't think they're going to do it, especially against the number one team in the country.
I I've done it every week. I think that I know I've done it every week that they've been on our pick'em slate. And it's just the fact that it's gonna happen eventually. And if I can be on that, if I can be like, "Ooh, I'm on that pick," I can celebrate with all the Vanderbilt fans as they cover. And I think, I honestly, you look at that 56, and that is a lot of points. I think Vegas expects Georgia to cover it by itself. I think they're thinking Georgia hangs 56 by themselves against Vanderbilt. So that's why I'm kind of leaning under, because I don't, man, they could get there, but I don't know. I'm rocking with them. Vanderbilt plus 31.5. Switching gears to the other one of our teams. It's a big game. It's a very big game, and I'm so nervous. A&M going into Knoxville this weekend as a 3-point dog. The over/under set at 55. Billy, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give me your opinion on A&M and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, through the first six games, it's pretty obvious that A&M's defense is really good against the run. They're giving up 2.6 yards per carry, but they've got a bad pass defense. They're giving up almost 8 yards per pass attempt. That's not ideal for Tennessee, and I think A&M is probably the more talented team. Um, and Tennessee has ran the ball really well. I think 6 yards per carry, which is like number two in the country. But I think Joe Milton can make enough plays through the air to win a game that I think is going to be low scoring. So give me the under. I think it'll be a little bit of a defensive battle. Two good defenses, and two quarterbacks that, quite frankly, haven't really proven themselves yet. But I like Tennessee. I think the Neyland crowd plays with A&M's offense. I think Tennessee's fans come through in the clutch, especially after what Gary Danielson said. What an idiot! I don't know why you would ever say that. A&M is probably like, what in the world? Why did he just say that? Um, but yeah, give me Tennessee minus 3.5, but give me the under as well.
I'm gonna start off with Gary Danielson. Gary, you're a bum, and you might be, whatever legendary SEC playing at whatever. You don't talk about Neyland Stadium as some other SEC stadium. That's not true, and we've proven over and over again. Whatever. Be quiet, you bum. We're gonna shut you up this weekend because the boys are back, and I think hot take, hot take. When you turn on the SEC title game in a month and a half, you'll see a team possibly in red, but it ain't gonna be Georgia, because the team in the East will be wearing orange and white. And you can say, "Well, you're crazy for that."
Wow,
Heck yes, I'm crazy. I've seen Alabama
that's
struggle.
wild.
I think we're gonna beat Bama. It is on the road. That's our biggest test because Georgia's at home. We haven't lost at home in quite a while. Georgia, and you've struggled. You beat Kentucky. Congratulations. Kentucky cannot throw the ball 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. So whatever. You watch out. Georgia and Bama, like I said last year, your days are numbered, and we're coming. Yeah, Joe is whatever. He has his ups and downs, but he's gonna get it going. And that run, good lord. The rushing attack, good luck, buddy. Three-headed monster, good luck, buddy. A&M, good luck, buddy. Because Tennessee minus 3, bet your house on it, bet your bank on it, bet your kids on it. Crap, bet the boat on it. Honey, we're set on the boat because Tennessee minus 3 is bank. And I'm gonna bet the over because A&M's been a great over team this season. They've put up points, whatever, but they also give up points. Miami hung 50 on them. You let Mario Cristobal, Mr. No Knee Cristobal, hang 50 on you. What are we doing? Over easy. Tennessee by at least 7 or more. I'm not going to go crazy. 7 or more. But we're coming. SEC East. We run it. It's ours. Now it's time to get into lock of the weeks because I'm fired up now. We're talking about the boys and the checkered end zones. So, Billy, lock of the week, real quick, before I get a little too carried away.
Man, this is tough because looking at the slate, there's not too many games where I look at and I go, mm, that right there is my lock of the week. Um, so it's been tough, but I was looking around and Chase, I like the Florida Gators plus 2.5 in Columbia as my lock of the week. I know how dumb this sounds. This sounds ridiculous, but I would pick South Carolina if this game was being played at night. You see, the South Carolina State Fair is going on this weekend, and the atmosphere at Williams-Brice Stadium can get a bit crazy this time of year, especially when the game starts late at night and fans have had plenty of time to prepare. But with the afternoon start, I think things will be a little bit less raucous. That makes it easier for Florida. I don't think Florida is great, but I think they're better than South Carolina. I think the key matchup is a Florida pass rush that is really good. They're number 21 in the country in pressure rate. Um, and I think it'll face off against a South Carolina offensive line that's been bad all season. They are one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. Spencer Rattler has been a warrior all season long, but he's always under pressure. So give me Florida plus 2.5, lock of the week, lock it in right now. Put your mortgage on it. The Gators are going to Columbia and winning. Lock it in.
I love that you went off the pick'em slate. That makes me excited. I love it. UF plus 2.5. I'm here for it. Billy, lock of the week. It's been a struggle for both of us, 2-5 on the year, but we're turning that around. And guess what? My lock of the week. Give me 1 second. Let's go. We got the boys out here in the orange and in the white. Tennessee -3. Bet your kids on it. Bet your boat on it. Bet your house on it. Because Aggies, whatever that is, you have nothing for us. Jumbo Joe throwing tutties. Whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore because Tennessee -3. Let's go. We're going to get back in the win column, both of us on Lock of the Weeks. I'm pumped up. Billy's pumped up. A great weekend. We'll catch you
Let's
guys
go, baby.
next weekend. Ah!